Welcome back. Back with another banger. It's the React Files. Hope you're having a good night. If you haven't already, please take a second just to
Smash that, subscribe, ring that notification bell.
just to make sure the algorithm knows what's up. So let's get straight to it.
Move to higher ground immediately. This is a tsunami warning. Move to higher ground immediately.
Tsunami in New Jersey.
The same things that I'm seeing right now. I know y'all get a lot of bad weather over there, but these hundreds of destructive tornadoes are not of this world. And while all these tornadoes are going on, the anomaly showed up again. This happened in multiple different states. This one I'm showing you is Nebraska. I'm about to show you what it looks like now. This was Nebraska after. Wait till I show you Iowa. It was multiple states, multiple tornadoes in each state. Like I said, I know you guys get bad weather all the time, but after you see everything I'm about to show you right now, there's no way you're going to think that this is just normal. Remember all the earthquakes going on right now as well in Taiwan. They just had an earthquake in India, I believe, or a Middle Eastern country as well. A lot of earthquakes lately. Now I'm about to show you Iowa. I believe this was what caused that damage I just showed you in Nebraska. It's huge. Look how massive that is. This one is in Iowa. And there's so many. So many. And the damage this did is ridiculous. I'm about to show you the damage. Here's some more footage from Iowa. I believe this was a separate place in Iowa too. Like I said, there are multiple huge tornadoes destroying everything. Y'all, freaking look at this. My goodness. You know, sometimes you get lucky when it will miss a neighborhood. Sometimes it will just come in and take out the whole entire neighborhood. Look at this. I believe it even took out like an airport. I'm about to show you. And don't forget about all the major floods happening in the world right now as well. I believe India, Dubai, and there's another flood over there. Huge, massive floods. China, massive floods. No idea why the dude's laughing. Look around you. The entire world right now is being destroyed. And I guarantee you there will still be people in the comments saying, it's normal or I'm reaching.
The Antarctica blob is back. I'm sure many of you saw these videos and the footage of what radar picked up, this huge, massive thing out in the middle of the ocean coming from Antarctica going up towards South Africa, and then it disappears. It first came onto radar around April 8th and dispersed by April 12th. Well, that same anomaly is back, and it was actually first picked up on radar coming from Antarctica again on April 25th, 2024. They anticipate it dispensing today, which is April 26th. But the question still remains, what is this? People were saying that it had waves up to 85 feet, which we know it did not. So my theory is this isn't on top of the water. This isn't causing these high massive waves the way the data is showing that it should be. What if it's something underneath the water that's slowly gliding through and our radar's picking it up? Makes you wonder.
Yeah, the paranormal chick makes an interesting point. What if they were just reading the radar wrong? Instead of 90 feet above the surface, or if it's 90 feet under? 2,000 feet wide? That's crazy.
نزلوا أحمد برد رجله أحمد بسم الله أحمد نزله بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم قل أعوذ برب الفلق من شر ما خلق ومن شر غاسق إذا وقب ومن شر النفاثات في العقد.
I don't know what that was standing in the corner. Like it was doing a little devil dance.
طقوس إيش بتعمل؟ إيش هذا أخوان؟
اقترب لكي تدخل اللعبة
أقترب لكي أدخل اللعبة
وتبدأ في الطقوس.
أنت شو؟
أنا إنسان فلا تخف.
أنت إنسان؟
نعم ولكنني لا.
إنسان إيش؟
أعمل طقوس. اقترب لكي ترى الطقوس.
طب ارجع طلع لسانك مرة تانية عشان أتأكد بس إنك إنسان.
إنسان.
And with the willing complicity of headline-hungry media, a recent crisis of the month had to do with global warming. An ozone hole is opening up over the United States, we were told, the effects of which were already measurable in an increase in skin cancer. On the contrary, destroying chlorine around the polar vortex has been declining since January. A major objective of a recent shuttle mission was to determine the scope and scale of the so-called ozone hole, and the silence since has been deafening from those whose livelihood depends on creating crises. Recent data from the Upper Atmosphere Research Satellites affirms that any problem is less, it's not greater. Ozone levels fluctuate all of the time, partly because of volcanic activity and solar flares. But MIT's Technology Review has made an exhaustive study of worldwide ocean temperatures since 1851, has concluded that there appears to have been little or no global warming over the past century. In fact, the net rise in world surface temperature during the last century, which was about 1%, almost all occurred before 1940, and that was before aerosols, and that has since been reversed. Former NASA chief Robert Jastrow and former Scripps director William Nierenberg, past president of the American Academy of Sciences, Frederick Seitz, all have concluded in a scathing rebuke of those who make money by predicting global warming, quote, if we allow ourselves to be influenced by press release, we could spend $1 trillion over the next decade destroying what's left of the American economy in an utterly unnecessary attempt to repeal the Industrial Revolution.
So that's Paul Harvey. Never heard of the guy till today. The footage is from 1992. Guess I gotta take a look at them MIT studies. Do some research.
Listen to this prediction by Paul Harvey from 1965 of what the world would be like today and tell me it's not spot on.
If I were the devil. If I were the devil.
Shout outs to Jesse S. Bean putting out the Paul Harvey footage. A prediction of our world from 1965. Wow. And he was spot on with the gambling. He definitely spoke a lot of truth for his time.
CIA's been gone since 2021. Cartel is the CIA. That's how they have to get money. Look up devolution. Trump's in power. Okay, pull up a seat and have a drink, guys. You're gonna need it. And honestly, this will probably be the video that gets everything. It won't get me banned. It won't get me canceled. It'll It'll probably be the end of me being able to say anything else to you guys about anything. And I'm not special. I'm just some asshole on the internet. But I've never steered you guys wrong. And you'll never find anything on my page that's like, oh, she's crazy. She doesn't know what she's talking about. I really am careful with what I tell you guys and the things that I say because I don't want you to lose hope. But this right here, I've got to tell you the truth. I know what you're talking about, and I'm going to tell you what that is. It's something that you would know as Q. This stuff came out in 2017, and I don't want to say it, and you guys don't want to hear it, but somebody has to say it somewhere. Since 1986, your government has had a counterintelligence program. This works with your national security, and it works with a few different things, but it focuses on domestic counterintelligence as well. That's kind of where this goes back to. It's 159 pages. There's been lots of adding and programs and things like that since then. This right here, that's what that is. They do this in the form of something they've done in the past, but basically to keep you up to speed, what they did here is they rewarded you by asking questions, right? And they were dropping some of the intel that come from the late greats like Bill Cooper and others. Then they talked about having Q clearance. Well, fuck, these guys, you know, Phil Schneider had a Q clearance, and if I think right, Cooper even said something about it. So they dropped this out on 4chan because they knew the biggest threat was going to be the people on the right. That's why it was directed this way. And they've ran programs on the left. They're actually running some stuff on the left as well. One's more physical, the other one's more mental, but this has been going on, guys. And you don't have to believe me. I don't care what you believe. But I've been trying to say this for 2 years in small, tiny, bite-sized pieces. The intel that originally came down wasn't supposed to get out. And it did. So they had to go in and cover that up and put a front man in there. That front man that they're using, guys, is the same kind of man that's on the other side. And I'm going to try to be careful about saying names here because they're going to yank this down. But if you think about presidential candidates and presidents, they're actors running the same script, okay? They tell you what you want to hear, and you believe it. And just like the right believes vehemently in Trump, the left believes the same in Biden, right? And you look at them and you go, why would they believe that? They're looking at you the same way, and they do what they can to make each side look crazy so that you never get together and find out the truth. As far as this operation that's still running, it's been running for years. The original intel was right, and truth was mixed in with lie. What happened, though, is they got you guys to focus in on the bullshit and the most shock factor stuff when, in fact, you actually had all of it in front of you. This was all infiltrated, and if you want to look back to who probably had the biggest impact, it was Julian Assange. And Julian's still sitting there if he's not already 187. You got people on this app and everywhere else trying to get clout. They were doing it back then when it first dropped. Wanting to write books, wanting to take a seat in Congress, thinking they're going to get something special. And the way they did this by asking you in the form of questions was centered on somewhat of a game style. To where if you get the question right, they're going to put it up there, you're going to be acknowledged, and you're going to be seen as special. And anybody that doesn't agree with you is going to be seen as not privy to the information. And the way they did this was by pulling back the curtain to show you the realities of what's going on in Congress, right? With the elites, Congress, Hollywood stars, all of that. That's been going on since the very beginning, guys. This has been going on since, Bible times. There's always corruption. It's nothing new. And the late greats were talking about this. When you guys were told that you're watching a movie, it doesn't mean that what's happening isn't happening. What that actually means is that everything's a movie. That the leaders are actors, okay? They're all in on it. And they're watching you dance on the stage of the scripted play that they're playing out upon you. They don't care. They do see you less than insects. And that's the way it's always going to be. The big goal here was to keep you distracted so that in the background they could get done what they needed to quickly so that you would be too busy going down the rabbit holes. What was supposed to happen is you were supposed to look behind the curtain, right? Wizard of Oz. But that got infiltrated to keep you going down the rabbit holes. The holes that lead to somewhere that can't be proven because the news can simply put out an article 5 years later and it's future proofs past, right? But when you write the script, of course you're able to do that. And yet somehow people got thrown off by thinking that there's time travelers involved. And yes, there is certain things running. But when you control the entire earth, you can make a news story come out 5 years later because it's right on cue. And I wonder how many people would realize that this system is running in the background with nobody operating the ship, right? How long could it run before you realized that we're just kind of automatically doing these things? Is there anybody sitting there, anybody running it, or is it AI? But I don't think we're ready to have that conversation yet. AI was involved in this program, and there are some people that were involved as well. But the main goal here was to tell you to share memes, and there's a reason for that. It wasn't to wake up the other side. That was to cause division with the other side, to see you as crazy. Why they wanted you to share memes was that so people from the earlier time, 2017, when they started figuring it out and falling off, newcomers would come in and buy into the bullshit. I'm not saying that all the intel was wrong, but it was mixed 60-40, they said. And what happened is people started focusing on the wrong stuff. You were told to expand your thinking and look at the maps, but instead people focused on the markers, and nobody actually figured out the map, but a very small few. And those people aren't going to come out and say anything because they know what's going to happen when they do. And a lot of people just wanted to use it for clout, views, clicks, likes, book deals, bullshit, even right here on this app. They try to act like they're privy, like they're fighting some shit with kids in tunnels, and that there's an operation going on, and that's a fucking lie. And I'm one of the only ones that's going to tell you this. These people are not doing that, and a bunch of them's running stolen valor. And I hate to say that, but shame on you. Shame on you that you let the counter intel get so deep that you'll try to convince other people that you're out here doing something you're not. And I know you're not. It's not hard to figure out. When you've done supply for DOD and you know how things move and you know how war strategy and history and all that works, yeah, you're lying. And I've already warned you to quit, but it is what it is. CIA is still running. The CIA's always been running. And the sad thing is it's so intricate and so fascinating and truly brilliant that most people don't even realize it. But when you have a mass group of people all believing in one thing, you have to realize something. That's probably not the path you should go. The path that's least traveled is the one you probably need to be on. Because if you have a mass group of people doing this or that, what's happening? Are you really privy to it, or did they want you to know? They wanted you to know so that you'd look at things a certain way. And this golden boy that they've set up that's going to save everything and take down all the chaos and destruction isn't what you think he is. He's playing his part in the script. This way they can break down the old guard and build the new. And you will never know that you walked right into the New World Order as long as it looks good enough for you to accept. And they don't even care if you accept. The stuff that you see in the White House with Hunter Biden, the cocaine, all this shit. It's all to get you to see that it's illegitimate, right? And they both get paid the same way. Joey Boy gets paid his cut for playing dumb. And Trump gets his part for playing savior. That's the world we're in, guys. There's a lot more that I could say here. But you should look that up. Go look into your counterintelligence programs. That's why I was telling you guys about this convoy thing. And the only reason I'm careful with this is because they put out a legal notice. I told you guys to look into certain people that were running certain operations and to stay away from certain things. It's a mindfuck, guys. While they were telling you to understand MK Ultra, you've actually been MK Ultra, and the only way you're going to exit out of this matrix is if you come off that left-right pillar. And that was even in the drops, that it's not left or right, that it's up to you, that you are the news now. That means quit watching it. You have to write the script and stop reading theirs. I hope I'm not too harsh, guys, and I've cut this back to not say a lot, but there it is.
You are the news. Shout out to Mrs. _Unbreakable one. Yo, she's like the Sarah Connor of our time, if life was a movie. Real Terminator 2 vibes, you know? Tell she's a strong woman. Definitely Terminator vibes when it comes to her. The glasses and all. What she was saying made a lot of sense.
You guys gotta hear me for a second. What are the chances of a civil war? There are some very weird things happening right now. And to be honest with you, I'm getting some very weird vibes and found some very weird coincidences. Now, I don't get into politics because I don't trust them. But did you see all the indictments coming out of Arizona? All these Republican people are literally looking at felonies for just questioning something in 2020.
Hi, I'm Arizona Attorney General Chris Mays. Let me start by thanking everyone for your patience as we conducted a thorough and professional investigation over the past 13 months into the scheme in our state. I understand for some of you today didn't come fast enough, and I know I'll be criticized by others for conducting this investigation at all. But as I have stated before and will say here again today, I will not allow American democracy to be undermined. Investigators and attorneys assigned to this case took the necessary time to thoroughly piece together the details of the events that began nearly 4 years ago. We're here because justice demands an answer to the efforts that the defendants and other unindicted co-conspirators allegedly took to undermine the will of Arizona.
Politics or not, 18 people were charged with felonies for questioning something. So all of this really got me thinking like, what's going on behind the scenes? Because I never trust in front of the scenes and the words coming out of these people's mouth. So this movie that literally came out this year is about an authoritarian government and a dystopian government. Authoritarian, like a Senate that goes against the will of the people. But me personally, I don't believe any of the words coming out of these people's mouth, neither the stage that they're trying to say. What do I believe though? There are no such thing as coincidences. In 2016, they had another Civil War movie about Captain America. America. No one else. Civil War, America. By the way, the symbolism all over this stuff is crazy. And did y'all not remember of the state of Texas literally fighting against the federal government earlier this year? Alluding to crazy outcomes? I mean, even this, the Purge year. And then they just came out saying that certain police forces were not going to be taking certain phone calls in the middle of the night. I could be wrong, and this is my opinion. I have a feeling in my gut this is coming. Again, TikTok, my opinion. Oddly enough, there's been a few prophets that prophesied of this happening this year too.
A lot of coincidences and parallels. Totally forgot Marvel made a movie called Civil War with Iron Man and Captain America.
Do you still think Superman's the good guy? Aw, that's cute. Well, if you don't want that ruined for you, I wouldn't keep watching. Let's first start by looking at Superman's real name, Kal-El. That seems somehow familiar. Where have I heard that before? Oh yes, that's right. It sounds an awful lot like Hal-El, which is another name for Lucifer. And most of the fallen angels end in L, kind of like Kal-El, Jor-El. And the translation of Lucifer literally means shiny or sometimes bright. And where does Superman get his power from? The sun, which some people might refer to as a star. And Lucifer just happens to be known as the morning star. And did you ever notice that pose he flies with? It seems somehow familiar as well. Like I've seen it somewhere before. Where I've seen it somewhere before more than once. Where I've seen it somewhere before more than twice. I can't quite place where though. It's slipping my mind. And did you ever notice his emblem? I wonder what that S could really stand for. And if that S stands for what I think it stands for, don't you find it odd that the color they chose to be his weakness just happened to be the color of God's throne, which is talked about in the Bible in Revelation 4:3 as an emerald throne? Interesting. And now we get to the really fun and speculative part, because this is George Reeves, and he just happened to die in 1959 and look an awful lot like someone that came around in 1960. Someone that came around that just happened to be one of the biggest contributors to a certain place that just happens to have a certain serpent tongue going through its logo. But Hollywood and the government would never intermingle. That's just silly. Oh, and that certain someone who showed up a year after another certain someone supposedly died just happened to leave Psalms 19:1 on his tombstone that says, "The heavens declare the glory of God, and the firmament showeth his handiwork." Maybe someone was feeling a little guilty for some of their evil. But you guys know, this whole thing is just for entertainment. I'm just here to speculate and entertain. I'm a satire account. I don't really think there's any connection in these guys at all. Definitely not. There's definitely not an evil group of people that worship a certain fallen angel and just put that in our face all over the place. Definitely not. Like I said, just here to entertain. You guys have a good day. Entertainment purposes only.
And that's a wrap. Hope you enjoyed tonight's rabbit hole. Want to give a huge shout out to Joe Breeden on becoming the channel's newest member. Thank you so much, Joe. I appreciate your support. Peace and blessings. If you haven't already, please take a second just to smash that like, subscribe, ring that notification bell, just to make sure the algorithm knows what's up. So what we gonna do, y'all? That's right. Run these numbers up. Thanks again. Until next time.